good morning. Greetings from a lovely day from California, Southern California. And wherever you are, I am hoping you're having a great day and you will enjoy your long weekend. So, we are introducing Appreciative Inquiry, which is an innovative method and process for transformation. So, this is our first webinar. Today is August 31st. 2018, and we are on from 9 until 10:30 in West Coast time. Okay, next. So the goal for our webinar is to gain a deeper understanding of what appreciative inquiry is and how it works. And we want to learn how to apply appreciative inquiry for systems change, for community change, for visioning and personal development. We also want to understand the Be Strong Family strategic planning process, which is using appreciative inquiry. And we are inviting parents, leaders, board members, staff, and stakeholders to participate in this process. Next, please. So I'm going to say that because I didn't introduce myself, I'm Yoland Trevino, for those of you that may or may not know me. And I have been using appreciative inquiries since 1996 as a way of an approach and method for transformation in my personal life, coaching, personally coaching others, organization development, and community development around the world. So it's my pleasure and privilege to be doing this webinar with you, and thank you for your company. So now we're looking at another slide that is showing um, the appreciative inquiry approach. And the reason that I love appreciative inquiry is that it's focusing on leveraging an organization's core strength. That's like the building blocks, the strong pillars that hold an organization. And rather than seeking to overcome or minimize its weaknesses, we focus on the strengths. And AI makes a conscious choice to study the best of an organization, its positive core, to design and redesign the systems within an organization to achieve a more effective and sustainable future. AI is not a top down or bottom up change process, but rather a whole system approach. And by this, we mean that when you have an appreciative inquiry process and you invite the entire organization members to participate, whether they are top leadership, whether they are clerical staff, whether even people who are the environmental people that clean our offices or our whatever community center might be. So that's one of the reasons that we love, because AI believes that absolutely everyone can be a contributor and enrich the conversation. Next. So we see appreciative inquiry as a real paradigm shift. That is, paradigm is changing the model that we may have. The basic premise of appreciative inquiry is that in every organization there's something that works, that gives life, provides effectiveness, and makes it successful. And in addition to organization, is we believe that every individual, every community, there's something delightful that we want to mine. So you see this um, graphic here that shows you that the methodology also uses a lot of visual because we have many people that are visual learners, and we want to invite all of our senses. And so this is something that I like to use very much, but many others use. And this one is one that I did with David Cooperrider for another organization transformation. Next. So this is a graphic too that highlights other organizations that are using appreciative inquiry for the transformation, and you see here um, that many organizations that you may know about and many that you may know about, but this is used around the world for transformative processes. So you can look at this at your own leisure, but you can see one that I don't have here that I participated was a United Way. Um, and this was a very powerful one. We had close to 10,000 people because it was an approach that was inviting around the world the members of United Way. So I'm just sharing that because this works with a small group as well as a very large group. Next. So the inquiry, appreciative inquiry, is an opportunity so that we can create our preferred future, and that's the invitation for organizations. Next. So we have certain assumptions of appreciative inquiry. Um, the major assumption is that appreciative inquiry in every organization, something works. And change can be managed through the identification of what works in the analysis of how to do more of what works. So, in other words, we want to amplify that which works. Next. So, here are the 8 assumptions. In every society, organization, personal, community, or group, something works. In what we focus on becomes a reality. If we focus on the negative and what's not working and we're giving energy to that, unfortunately, that will become our future and our present reality. Reality is created in the moment, and there are multiple realities because when people participate in this, everyone is looking at things through their own lens. So here is an opportunity to together create a preferred future. Number one, the act of asking question of an organization or group influences the group in some way. So this is a very important number four, that I will spend more time speaking about. Number five, people have more confidence and comfort to journey to the future, the unknown, when they carry forward parts of the past, the known. So, in other words, if we are going to go on a journey and we're packing our suitcase, we want to put in the suitcase those things that we trust, that give us confidence, that we feel good, that we have completed, that we've done. And so we want to take the good parts. And we always, if we go on a journey, we want to take our best clothes. So that's kind of that, um, just to underline how that works. Number six, if we carry parts of the past forward, they should be what is best about the past. Many times we stay stuck on the negative and what hasn't worked, and so it's hard to move to the future because we feel shackled and we stay in the past and what's not working. So number seven, it is important to value differences, and this is an important one because we feel that everyone contributes something and everyone enriches the process. The language that we use creates a reality, is our last one. And this is another very important one in how we ask questions, in how we do the inquiry. Next. So many of you know that the traditional approach to organizational change or community change is that we want to problem solve. And we think that something needs to be changed because it's a problem, and unfortunately, I can take this even to the so-called case management, that we want to fix people because there's something wrong with them. So we look at organizations that there's something wrong with them. So we want to identify the problem, we want to conduct a root analysis, we want to brainstorm solutions and analyze, and then we want to develop plans to change that which isn't working. Next. In the appreciative inquiry approach, we appreciate what is, what gives life. So that's what we do rather than identifying a problem. We want to imagine what might be. We want to determine what should be. And then we create together what will be. And so the metaphor for this, as you can see, as they are juxtaposed, the metaphor for the appreciative inquiry approach is that organizations, individuals, communities are a solution to be embraced, as opposed to the problem solving approach that look at organizations, people, communities are problems to be solved. Next. So this is a graphic that gives you a summary of what the approach is. Um, so we start with the discovery. We want to see what gives life to the organization, to people, to community. We want to highlight, we want to discover the best that exists. That's the first D, the discovery process. And using the data and what we learn from the discovery, then we go to the dream part, and that's when we look at what could be, um, who might be the partners, organizations, and what they're asking us to do. How do we envision the results of a preferred future? And we use all the data that we discovered, the best things that we did in the discovery, and we take that to the dream to create a preferred future. And after we create the preferred future, which can be a lot of fun, that's probably my favorite part, then we go to designing how we are going to actualize the dream. So the dream doesn't stay floating around, but we actually give it legs and roots. And in the design process, too, is when we create together, we create what are the next steps, what are the people have the most passion for, and so we create steps to get to the preferred future. So that is what could be the ideal design and co-creating and manifesting in partnership. And the last D is the delivery. This is the part when we actually have created um, the approach, the program, whatever the strategic plan that we have. And this is the part that we sort of deliver to the world, to our community, to our board, to our staff, and we say, okay, so now how do we keep this so that it's really open, it's not in concrete, it's alive, and how do we learn more, adapt more, improvise, and share the knowledge and power that we have gained by doing this approach and this process in organizational too, and keep it sustainable and continuous. And this is also the part when organizations fully embrace being learning organizations. Next. So in the discovery phase, um, it's really again, as I had mentioned before, uh, focusing on peak moments of personal excellence, community excellence. When people have experienced community, and in this context, it means this strong community or the community that you work in its most alive and effective state. And participants then seek to understand the unique factors that made the high points possible, such as could have been leadership, relationships, technologies, the values of an organization, capacity building that you had, or external relationships. Next. Um, Here is going back again to when we talked about the power of the questions. This is a very important phase of discovery because people, like plants, they move towards the light. In the way that questions are asked will determine the results of the inquiry. If we ask questions that elicit people feeling bummed about, oh, this is not working or whatever, then we're going to take the inquiry into a negative downward spiral, and pretty soon people don't have any energy. So we need to ask questions that inquire and elicit the best of what exists. And positive questions are generative. I would like to pause now and ask if anyone has any questions that they want to pose just around what we have covered. Anyone that's listening to us. Okay, I guess that everyone is on board and really taking in everything we're saying. Should we go to the next one, Jesse?
Sure.
Okay. So in the discovery, then we're saying what's working around here. We want to find, we want to uncover, we want to identify, we want to reveal, we want to realize what is working. So this one is an example of appreciative questions. We might ask questions such as, what are the highest qualities of yourself? We might ask, when were you best as a leader? What did you do? What did others do as a result of your leadership? And then we want to discover the highest qualities of others. We might invite them to tell the story of others that have been great leaders. And what were the qualities that they displayed? And this is a way that we start not only building our data, the best of what is as a person, but also connecting in a very deep, profound way. Next. So, one of the approaches that we have to discover this, because it's easier rather than ask everyone for this, is to ask people to pair up in interviews. And so this is one example of a paired up interview, and we might give people 10, 15 minutes, depending on how much time you have. So this one says, for example, looking back over your time with Be Strong Families, recall a time when you had an especially positive experience of feeling connected, an experience when you felt really alive and fully engaged, or felt a strong sense of Be Strong Families community. We invite people to pair up with someone they don't know very well and to share what was the experience, who was involved, and what made it so wonderful or significant for them. So I'm going to ask Jessie to maybe share very briefly, maybe one experience she's had.
Um, I think one experience for me with Be Strong Families was last week or 2 weeks ago. I had the opportunity to attend a focus group for our new A More Perfect Union initiative. And Dina was running a focus group with our Chicago parent leaders, and it's a project that I've been part of since I first started with Be Strong Families about a year ago. But I've been only on the staff side, and we've had, lots of meetings, and we've been working on it. Sometimes we feel really positive about the project. Sometimes we've been getting kind of frustrated. And to get to be in a place with people who were seeing it not totally for the first time, but with a fresh set of eyes, and people who are really excited to bring the More Perfect Union program out into the community and really had that full energy for it was really exciting. And I felt like it really transformed or brought me back to what my original attitude towards the project had been, with enthusiasm and excitement.
Great. So the way that you engage in an appreciative way makes a big difference.
Definitely.
Great. Okay, next. So this the creating dreams. So as I mentioned to you that this is a section that I really love is the creating dreams. But we always do the appreciative discovery process before that we get to the dreams. And because we want to take all the best that we have mined from the experience, whether we have interviews, whether we create boards that reflect our experience, but we use that as a something to take as a building blocks to create our dreams. So this dream catcher is a nice little graphic that I like from my friend Diana Whitney. from the Positive Change organization. This one says you must learn to live and work in a energetically positive. Understand and do what gives life to the people. Next. So the dream approach. Now, building on the solid foundation of the Be Strong families, the positive core. That means throughout the organization there is a positive core that is the delightful, the most wonderful, your values. So, what is your highest vision for amplifying that core into its fullest, richest, and authentic leadership potential? And so this will be an invitation when you are in a group, in a community, or in this case with the strategic plan as we move forward, that we want to pull out and amplify the highest vision and amplifying that into its fullest, richest, and authentic potential. At this stage, we want to be bold and we want to soar high like an eagle, and we don't want to have limitations about, oh, I don't think we want to do that because we might not get there. So we don't want to think about limitations at this time. Next. So you have some of the staff. I don't know if anyone is with us on the call that can recognize yourself here. But Be Strong Families is about dreaming a preferred future. And we did that 3 years ago, and we have embarked on another strategic plan for the next 3 years. Next. So the dream phase challenges the status quo. That means what already exists. We want to envision a more valued and powerful partnerships. And at this point, participants think great thoughts and create great possibilities for personal goals, organization, and community, then turn those thoughts into possibilities. So we want to free ourselves of any boundaries that hold us back. We want to let our imaginations go really high, as I said, like an eagle. And we want to build on the organization excellence. We want to dream what is possible and also what might seem at the time impossible. And we want to see what is the farthest that we can stretch. Next. So we have the design here, and as you can see, I'm going like really fast through this, only because we have a time limitation. But I may want to go back to the dream and for a minute, if you don't mind, Jesse. Yes, and just share with you that my experience with the dream and stretching really far and not necessarily being shackled by what may not work. It's been a very powerful experience around the world and also in communities here in this country because I really believe that everyone wants to dream what is possible. If you give them an opportunity, they want to change their personal life into the best that it could be. They want to change the organizations to reflect the highest hopes that they may have, their values. And so this is a really wonderful opportunity because we can make it possible. We can be even unimaginable, what we think, well, it doesn't work. And we have right now, unfortunately for our families, many systems and institutions that continue to do things the same old way and they know it doesn't work, but somehow they don't give themselves permission to dream what could be done differently. And some of that, of course, has to do with leadership. So I'm appreciative very much of the leadership that you have with Be Strong Families that sees that engaging the whole organization, including all of you, in dreaming what is possible it's a really great opportunity for all of you to learn how this approach works and to use it not only with the organization but in your personal life and with the families that you may work with. So there are many examples that I could give you about what has happened around the dreams and possibilities from my work around the world. But I might do another video some other time that list and maybe share some stories about that. I think for purposes of time limitations we have today, we can't. But just to leave you that it is a delightful and wonderful approach. And we can do really a lot with our strategic plan, learning very well that we don't have to be limited by what exists, but we can create a different future for our communities, our families, our youth, ourselves. Okay, I'm ready to go to design then. Okay, so in this phase, whatever it is that the future we have imagined we want to create, we want to take that dream and we want to create a scaffolding, if you will. We want to create the ladders that we need so that we make it possible. So it's sustainable, it's doable. So in this phase, we want to create a strategy or the approach, the method to implement what we're calling our provocative propositions, because when we are doing the dream, we are going to create some provocative statements. And provocative because it's going to test the status quo. It's going to allow the organization to look beyond the existing, perhaps even the existing structure, and create something that is more adaptable, perhaps, so that we can create the preferred future that we want. So we will do this by building what is called a social architecture for the community. And this social architecture, because it involves inviting other people. Um, we, for example, it might redefine approaches to leadership, the government, whatever governance is, that means your leadership and how whatever norms you have, that some of that might need to be changed, or you might need to increase some capacity. So the question is, what is our dream realized? Then we create organizations. We can also change them. But this is part of the challenge is that people don't give themselves permission to change what exists, whether it's working or not, and we continue to limp along with organizations and approaches or systems that may not necessarily work. The design of an organization seeks alignment with its values and dreams. And this is really true. For example, in the strategic plan, we want to build on the values that exist. We want to create opportunities for the staff, for the board to be in alignment, not only with their personal values and their personal dreams, but in alignment and weave their own values, their own dreams, weave them together with the dreams, the values, and that that Be Strong families may have. We also want to see that while organization may seem fixed, all organization elements can be changed. Next. So the design, at this point also we defined the basic structure to allow the dream to become a reality. We develop social organizational architecture considering at least the following: the behavior, what are some of your processes, competencies, what's the communication, what are the external and internal relationship, as I said before, the governance, the partnership, practices and principles, what is your vision and purpose, and then continue then again to develop provocative proposition based on the dream that we wanted. And then this is what bridges the past and the great things we want to take of the past with the present and the future. And it becomes the basis of action plans, or in other words, it could be the strategic plan to move to the preferred state. So good appreciative designs addresses all three elements necessary for effective organizational change, continuity, novelty, and transition. Next. So again, just to underscore, is using the best what exists and that which is needed. We will design actions that reflect our values. And this is we will continue to check. Are we doing what we need to do to make our dream realize, to get the preferred future that we want? Okay, next. So the very last one that we have is the destiny, it also called delivery. And this is the final phase that involves the delivery of new images of the future and is sustained by nurturing a collective sense of destiny. So now, if it can be collective, if we have invited the board, the staff, our community members, our parents, because then it's a collective. We all own it. We all co-created it. And this is a time of continuous learning, adjustment, and improvisation in the service of shared community ideals. Next. So during this phase two, we continue to ask what will be. We allow ourselves to dream, and we will discover that destiny is yours to design. And I do believe that. I do believe that it is in our hands, in our hearts, and all we need is an opportunity to be part of something that we might feel at a time is bigger than ourselves. Next. So the co-creation of a strategic plan using appreciative inquiry. So we created the current strategic plan. We created this using appreciative inquiry, and it's now time to revisit that because strategic plans or our action plans are really alive, and we want to make sure that we are continue to be in alignment. Organization the same like we do, we change, and we want to make sure that we are growing into what the Be Strong Families is now, and we want to reflect that in the strategic plan. So, in the appreciative inquiry process, the future is consciously constructed upon the positive core strengths of the organization. So, when we're looking to create our new strategic plan, we want to build on what we're uncovering, the core strengths of the organization. And as you may know, we began discovery process in Chicago a couple of months ago. And everyone will be able to participate and to continue to discover the great strengths of the work that you're doing, your great personal strengths that you have, because all of this will be our building blocks to create our preferred future. And the last bullet says when linking the energy of Discord directly to any change agenda, subtly and democratically creates and mobilizes topics that never before we thought were possible. I'm wondering if there's any questions. I have covered quite a bit, and Jesse and others that might be on the call, on the webinar. No calls? No questions? Let me give it another half a minute to see if any of this. This is a lot to take in, and some of you may be familiar, a little bit more familiar with this, and some of you, it might be, some of the concept might be a little bit foreign, but it is very intuitive. And I really believe that all of you are already using appreciative inquiry. You may not know the terms and you may not know that's what you're doing, but this is an intuitive thing. It's not wild. Some of the scholars might want to make it, very scholarly and things like that. It's really it's intuitive, and I think very easy for all of us to understand and implement. No questions, Jesse?
I don't have any.
Okay. Next.
That on me.
Hello. Somebody said something. So this is a graphic of the staff in creating, in designing. So I just wanted to illustrate that the strategic plan will have your ideas, your vision, your concepts as we move forward. Next. So I just have some closing reflections and learnings from the webinar. Wondering if anyone has any insights they might want to share. I'm sure you have them, but if you want to share, it's a different story. Any learning, any new understanding, any feelings, or one big hope. So this is open for you to share. I have about 5 minutes for this.
I think this is Jesse. As someone who participated in the first session in Chicago, in the Discover session, I think this is helping me understand better how the sessions will weave together and lead to the strategic plan. I think in particular when you were talking about the design phase and how that is kind of coming out of what you've discovered and then what you've dreamed, and then that's more the action and planning stage. I think that helps me understand better how you can take a bunch of people reflecting on the peak times of community excellence and turn that into something that you can work from and move forward from.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. Yeah, I'm wondering. Thank you, Jesse. Is there anyone that might share anything?
Hi, Yoland. Nice
Hi.
talking to you. And a great presentation. I really like it. I missed the first one, but it makes me feel with a lot of hope and being more positive about the way that I'm doing my work. And I really love the way that you started the PowerPoint. Like when we're doing this, we have to have everybody included, not from only people from top or bottom, but everybody. And then at the end, when you finish on Destiny, you close with the same intentionality, with the same talk. And it's like we need to keep everybody connected. So which makes me feel like everybody is included. We all are important. And just to also the one that I really feel connected was like the future is built or constructed and being conscious about the work that we're doing and how are we doing. And I love that. I think that was something that I'm taking away.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sarah. And I'm very open to, like I said, this is an invitation for you all to feel free to send your comments, any ideas on how this can be even better, more interactive. Because I think now the future is now in terms of how we use technology as a learning tool. And we are, it's kind of challenging to bring everyone together in the same room, but we can do our level best to engage people from wherever they're coming from and do this. So this is wonderful. I appreciate very much your reflections and in sharing your insights. So this can be used as a tool for the organization for engage really far and wide. Isn't that great?
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoland.